Your healthy community is underwritten by the Quantum Foundation. The Quantum Foundation works in Palm Beach County to increase healthcare access, improve science and health education, and enhance the healthcare workforce. Over the past 15 years, the foundation has invested nearly $100 million with community partners who are helping us meet our vision of creating a place where everyone has the opportunity to live healthy lives regardless of their income, education, or background.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Toni May. Each week we tell you the stories about people and programs and foundations that are doing good work here in Palm Beach County to make your neighborhood a more healthy one. Tonight we're talking about STEAM, not the kind that powers engines, the kind that powers students. Welcome my guest this evening. Hello, Leslie Lilly. Welcome back.
Hi, good evening.
President of the Community Foundation for Palm Beach and Martin Counties. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
And Bernie Godek, you're with Habitat for Humanity here locally.
Correct.
So, Leslie, the Community Foundation recently did an initiative literally called STEAM. Tell me what that is.
Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And it's a way of thinking about how to infuse in the curriculum in our students' learning, everyday learning, the type of critical thinking skills and content that they need for the kinds of jobs that we're seeing develop right now in Palm Beach County, but for the future.
And the Community Foundation has been around for decades. Why is STEAM this big topic now? Like, why is it important to the foundation now?
Well, there's a recognition that workforce development and the type of jobs that are typically available now really require very critical thinking skills, and we need a curriculum that prepares students to be thoughtful, be able to do critical assessment, and also just have the hard skills necessary for a lot of the jobs that are being driven by the new technologies.
You looked at the overall, nonprofits in the community, and you said, come to us with your STEAM ideas, no matter where you are, no matter what kind of field you're in.
Yes, and because STEAM is really inclusive of a variety of disciplines, there's a lot of room for creativity about how to introduce the substance and the type of critical thinking skills that are part of that content area. So as a result, we had applications from all different kinds of organizations doing this, and a common denominator among those was the fact that the school district in both Palm Beach and Martin counties have programs going on in the public schools at individual elementary, middle schools, and high schools. So a common denominator in all those applications was a tie into the public school systems.
So the idea is the districts in each of the counties work with these groups that have submitted the grants and have been approved, such as, I looked at the list, you're an expert, I'm not, but the zoo, zoo here in Palm Beach
That's
County.
Right.
And they're doing what I think is almost like Skyping with kids and like zoologists all over the country or something.
It's very cool. It's not when you think about going to the zoo, walking around and look at animals, and it's not like that at all. The zoo is really working a lot around the science of breeding programs, and so by using the technology, they're actually able to, do a television broadcast into the school systems so that there's an interchange between the staff that's working around the zoo, around some of the things that are going on in their science and working with the animals out there, that is really an introduction for many students that gets them behind just thinking about traditional view of what a zoo is and does.
And I know STEAM, the A stands for arts.
Yes.
So you have some creative, artistic ways to approach science and technology?
Absolutely, and in fact, the arts are a wonderful way to introduce students to thinking about how art becomes an important way of being creative in what they do, but also a set of disciplines when you think about sculpture, the ingredients that go into painting, and doing something that's fun, that comes out of a person's own set of creativity and imagination to do something new and different.
Yeah, see, I was thinking, how does arts and science go together? But you're absolutely right. It's when you stop and think about it and break it down, I think kids will be kind of surprised that they do.
Oh yes, absolutely, and it's really remarkable to see, kids, especially the younger they are very excited about what they see when they have an opportunity to really think about what goes on in science and what science means and the practical applications in everyday life. Whereas for many students who are never exposed to it, the attitude might be, well, what good is this for me? How am I ever going to use this?
Exactly.
STEAM is a way to get real experiential, hands-on opportunities to work with the content area and some of the guiding disciplines that are associated with each of those curriculums, so they begin to understand what the practical applications are.
Exactly, and that's my great intro to Bernie and Habitat here locally. Practical application, hands-on, that's what your grant from the Community Foundation is allowing some students out at Seminole Ridge to do.
That's correct. We've actually entered into a partnership with Seminole Ridge High School where the students that are attending their construction academy are actually building a habitat home from scratch, if you will, from blueprint in 4 quads. And then eventually when that home is completed in the classroom, they'll transport it to one of our home sites. We'll do the finishing touches on the home, and then it'll be sold to one of our Habitat partner families.
We got a chance to go into this classroom that Bernie just so eloquently described, and we're going to take you in right now. This is not your typical high school classroom. These students in the Seminole Ridge Construction Academy are getting hands-on learning in architecture, building, zoning, and so much more.
We're just marking them down. The AC is coming from Royal Palm.
Okay. That way they know where to put them.
Yeah.
A local architect designed this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. It is being built totally by these students. He says their passion to this project is amazing.
Some kids are skipping lunch because they want to stay here working. So I think it has impacted their whole personality and their whole vision and focus.
Teacher Rick Turkovich says when the kids first saw the project back in August, they were a bit skeptical.
First day, we put together a DVD of the architect's renderings and brought the kids in the classroom and we showed them on the screen, on the TV, this is what it's going to look like. And they see this 3-dimensional real house with little characters of people walking in and out, and they're, you're kidding, we're not doing it. And I said, yeah, you're going to do that. And
once they heard the house was going to a family in need through Habitat for Humanity, they were committed to completing it.
they've all done community service and stuff, but this is really making it real to them.
There are 4 modular pieces that will fit together when placed on the site in Riviera Beach. Before that happens in the fall, the students here will drywall, paint, install fixtures, and plumbing.
Insulating all the walls because it's basically mandatory.
Teachers say grades are up and behavior has improved. Many of these young men are hoping to go into construction, plumbing, or electrical engineering. All of them agree. The best part of building this house is that they know it will be lived in by a family that wouldn't otherwise have a home.
Shorten that board right there.
Teachers, I mean, we don't run on, Lord knows it ain't money, fame, or glory, or respect. We run on morale, and we feed off the kids. When the kids are hyped up about something, we're hyped up about something.
Right here where the glue starts. Hey, you listening? Trim it right here.
So Bernie, has your nonprofit done things like this partnership with the district and with a foundation to build a home? Because we all know Habitat for Humanity volunteers come and build homes. This seems a little out of the norm.
It really is. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this with the Community Foundation and Seminole Ridge High School. I wish we could say we had the bright idea for it. We actually modeled this after a program that occurred down in the Florida Keys between a high school there that has a rather large construction academy and the local Habitat affiliate. We looked at that, said we can do that here in Palm Beach County. Seminole Ridge High School was a great fit for it because of the size and nature of their academy. So we're excited about it. It's working out very well. And what was nice for us was that when you look at the S.T.E.M initiative, when it comes to an architect coming up with a conceptual design for a home and taking that through its entire process to when the home is complete, it actually involves all the elements of STEAM. So we thought this was a great fit.
No, and again, when Leslie and I were talking about your program, in my mind, and I am not very good at science and technology, so maybe that's my own, step back. I couldn't figure out how habitat went with STEAM, but when you explain it, which is exactly what we were just, when you break it down, oh yeah, I get it, which is kind of probably what you're seeing in some of these other programs.
Well, absolutely. When you really, I mean, even for a simple thing like culinary arts, the science is associated with, food preparation. And, why does a roll rise if you put yeast in it? So there are many ways to have a hands-on experience. And if you have an instructor who kind of understands that these kinds of things can be taught creatively, be fun for kids, then it's really the best of all worlds. You get kids who are excited, enthusiastic about something new and different, and there's an aha moment when they understand that there are principles behind this, that it opens a whole new window onto what the opportunities are for their learning.
And on the very serious side, science scores in Palm Beach County and across the nation, we should say, we're not alone, are low, especially in the middle and high schools. And from what I read, if you get kids excited prior to that, and certainly in middle school, they will actually excel in science and math courses. Is that, Community Foundation's all about bettering our county. So is that kind of why you stepped into this?
Absolutely. We recognize that, the workforce is changing, that we need to have an educational opportunity that's based on employment and economic opportunity for the kids who are going through our school systems. So it's important for us to be proactive now in helping to support innovative programs that are working with curriculum, thinking about what's the best way to deliver this content, and having our schools as partners with us in promoting these areas and subjects for study.
Now, Bertie, when you do dedicate the home that the students are building, how special is it for that family? I mean, kids built this school. How much, you've spent a lot more time with the kids. How much pride do they have in this and in meeting the family when it's all done? Talk about the end.
Yeah, I think the dedication itself is going to be, in this case, very, very special. You will have the family that will eventually own the home is going to be working side by side with the students that are building the home. And I think the real value is for the students. Aside from learning the different technologies involved in building a home, the different trades, they're also learning about giving back to the community and giving back to a family who's in need of really simple, decent, and affordable housing. So there's a shared educational benefit from this, both for the family and for the students involved in the program.
I know you said you modeled it after the Keys, so it's the first time you've done it. So, you're about halfway through, I think. What are your feelings about it so far and maybe trying to replicate it?
I think it's exceeded all of our expectations. To go to the classroom and really see what they're doing, seeing the students that are involved in it, talking to the students and realizing that some now have hopes of being employed immediately after high school. Some have aspirations of going on to higher education to further learn the skill that they learned in high school. That's absolutely exciting. And we hope we can do this where the school will build us a home a year.
That would be phenomenal. And kind of same question, Leslie. I know STEAM was an initiative for you all, I think for the first time. How do you feel? I know you visited a lot of the programs. You're going to visit more. What is your feeling? Was it really something that you might replicate looking at what you've done so far?
Well, we recently did a convening of the 11 organizations that received grants. We put out almost $1 million in support of these projects, and it was the first time those groups got together in that room, and the excitement was palpable because I think beyond what those organizations are doing individually with their grant and their special programs, I think everyone recognized there was a higher value in how can we work together to do this better. And I have no doubt that that is going to be one of the outcomes, and the foundation will continue to be a support of that.
And I think one of the things that I love, you kind of mentioned it, is collaboration. In this day where we are, in this county and beyond, without nonprofits, foundations, the school district, and businesses, quite honestly, getting involved, I don't think some of the problems we're talking about will ever go away.
That's right.
That's correct.
I really think that's going to be key. And I think anyone who's dedicated and committed to doing these programs recognizes that we've all got to work together if we're going to open these opportunities up for our children.
Well, congratulations to you both. It sounds like an amazing, I can't wait to be honest, I can't wait till the dedication and all the programs that you funded. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And both the Community Foundation and Habitat for Humanity exist on the generosity of donors like you. So if you're interested in either getting involved or finding out more about the programs, here's the information. We'll be right back. Well, when we think about good things happening here in our community, like we do each week here on our show, you might not think about the legal profession as leading the way to those good things. But coming up is a great week that's all about free legal help and more. Joining me now is the president of the Palm Beach County Bar Association, John Howe. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And Tonique Lee, also with the Bar Association and co-chair of what we are calling Law Week.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. First, John, let's start kind of breaking some of the stereotypes. You and I were talking before we went on the air. Lawyers kind of get a bad rap, and the Bar Association is trying to share with our community that it's not all about taking your money and, you know, fighting things out in court, that lawyers are really there as integral pieces of our community.
Yes, thanks, Tony, first of all, for having us here today. You're right, and this year, the Palm Beach County Bar Association has approached it in a more outgoing manner, and we are, through our Law-Related Education Committee and through Law Week and other programs, we are taking an aggressive approach to get lawyers out into the community, to speak to civic groups, to community associations, to anyone in any organization that wants to know more about the workings of our government, of our courts, and to have a better understanding of that. We understand that we have a duty to get out there in the community and engage the public and get the public to engage in our democratic process. And we want to get everyone involved. We understand that there are issues that are affecting people every single day, and a lot of times people are unaware of the roles that lawyers and judges play in the system and the importance to have a fully functional, fully funded, and independent judiciary.
And Tonique, I think some of the things people think about are on the backside. After something's happened, they might pick up call a lawyer. Talk about why you're trying to get the word out there that lawyers, you know, could really be a help before something goes wrong.
Well, for example, with Law Week, we're offering our foreclosure seminars, and it's offered both in English and in Spanish at different locations. But this could help homeowners before they get the first notice of being late or before they're actually served with a complaint, to where they may be able to find out what programs are available for them to save their home, or what programs that are available to actually get rid or sell their home. So it helps before they're actually entrenched in the legal matter, that they know what options are available and what services an attorney could provide to them, and maybe even what the process would be once they enter into the court system, as potentially the time or how much time they would have to stay in their home before they're actually required to leave.
I think, but you hit on something right there. The actual court process, the actual legal process for non-lawyers seems extremely overwhelming, extremely, the verbiage is, you know, words most people probably don't use in everyday language. When you're talking about some of this outreach you're doing specifically during Law Week, but beyond, do you ever kind of make it simplistic for the regular person to understand?
And that's the point. You know, that's the whole point, is to put it into terms, into layman's terms, and to provide a forum where people can ask the questions that are pertinent to their particular situation. And while people have been affected on a large scale, everybody has their own individual circumstance.
Exactly.
And, that's why this year we've put on our page, www.palmbeachbar.org, a speakers bureau link, like where, Joe Public can go to our website and actually request for a lawyer to come out and speak to their association or their organization. So, the problem is that people get so overwhelmed that they freeze up and they don't do anything.
Exactly.
And that's where they get into trouble, because whenever you're dealing with the legal process or your rights, you can't afford to not do anything. Otherwise, you're going to lose every time. And so that's why we're taking it up on ourselves to get lawyers engaged and with the community, and to get the community in tune with what's going on in the workings of government, and to have them be aware of how that affects them.
And why do you think that lawyers do get a bad rap sometimes? Do you think it's television and media? Do you think it's the high-profile cases that we've certainly just gone through in this county, but nationwide, kind of stereotype, oh, that's what a lawyer's like? Talk about that as attorneys.
Well, I think when it's easy to see how that happens, because anytime you're dealing with a situation that involves the courts or litigation, you have a plaintiff and a defendant, and you have a judge that sits in the middle, and invariably you're going to have at least one party who leaves that courtroom
not happy.
Not happy, right? Exactly. And in some cases, it can even be said that you'll have both parties leaving that courtroom unhappy, and that's why we emphasize that it's important to have an independent judiciary that isn't affected by the whims and winds of politics, and that goes all the way up to our Supreme Court. And there have been trends now wherein if a judge or justices make a decision that's not popular with a certain party, their solution is to do everything they can to get that judge or get those justices removed, as is happening right now in the state. And a lot of what people don't realize is that a lot of those funds are coming from outside of the state. And so, we have to have a court system that's fully funded.
And fair.
And fair. And people don't understand that, the reason why they have problems getting into court is because, like, for example, last year, the courts were funded with 0.7% of the state's general budget.
0.7%.
0.7%.
And you're
of the
expecting
budget.
more cuts. We were speaking this year after we just got done with the legislature here in Florida. You're expecting more cuts?
I believe they're expecting more cuts, which of course would affect the clerk system as to paperwork being filed and paperwork being taken in, the filing of complaints, the operation of the courts with the judges and their staff as to the ability to move cases along. Their hands are somewhat tied based on the financial burden that the court system has, to where the services that they used to be able to provide, they're unable to provide those services to move cases along and to assist with accomplishing the goal of the plaintiff or the defendant or any complainant to get their case heard in front of a judge.
But do you think that's because, obviously, I understand dollars have been cut, that's a fact, but are there a lot more people suing these days? I just have to ask. To me, why are there such a backlog of cases? Is it just easier now to call a lawyer and to start a lawsuit?
Well, we all are aware of the trials of the economy and with the recession and with the housing market, which was caused by irresponsible lending and borrowing practices on both sides. And when everything came down, it affected everyone, and there's a huge backlog. But when you have judgeships that have been commissioned, but those judgeships have not been filled with judges to hear the cases, because of the limitation in funding from the legislature and to the courts. That's where you get your answers to why there's such a backlog. People aren't overly litigious. Most people do not like to go to court, because it's stressful, and that's partly why, you were saying earlier, like why there's a bad rap for lawyers. It's because nobody likes to go into court unnecessarily.
Because nobody likes you guys, poor things. Well, I have 1 minute, so I want to give people the information about Law Week so that they might start liking you a little more. It's a week coming up. There's a free call-in day, I believe, where
3 days.
3 days, where people can call this number and real lawyers answer real questions.
We have attorneys volunteering from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. starting on April 30th, May 1st, and May 2nd. There are attorneys that from different areas of law that have volunteered. Family law, landlord-tenant, foreclosure, criminal law, contract law, insurance defense. So different
anything you can come up with.
Anything you can come up with for 3 days from 9 to 4 at the bar office. We have attorneys volunteering to answer questions. And then throughout the week, on April 30th, I believe, May 1st and May 3rd, we have our seminars, our Speakers Bureau going on at West Palm Beach Library for English speaking, and for Spanish speaking on a couple of days we have at the Cuban American Club for foreclosure and small claims court. So
it's a week. We're going to put it up because I know that's a lot of information. I'm going to put it up that your website and your phone number, people can get more information. Thank you so much. This is great, and I really appreciate your time breaking some of the myths. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Here's that information. Take part in Law Week. Free legal. You can't get better than that. We'll see you again next time right here on Your Healthy Community. Good night.
Your Healthy Community is underwritten by the Quantum Foundation. The Quantum Foundation works in Palm Beach County to increase healthcare access, improve science and health education, and enhance the healthcare workforce. Over the past 15 years, the foundation has invested nearly $100 million with community partners who are helping us meet our vision of creating a place where everyone has the opportunity to live healthy lives regardless of their income, education, or background.